Welcome to an all-new episode of Get Lit with Lianna, the podcast. Join me as I sit down with a new guest author in each episode to discuss their books, careers, and everything in between. Today, I'm sitting down with international bestseller and New York Times bestseller, Elena Armas, who wrote the new romance, The American Roommate Experiment. You may recognize Elena's name as the author of The Spanish Love Deception, which popped off on social media last year as one of the best romance books of the year. And it's actually being turned into a movie, which I cannot wait for. But I'm so excited to have Elena on the podcast, not only to talk about this book and The Spanish Love Deception, but also because she got her start as a bookstagrammer and then wrote a book, which is such an interesting trajectory for an author's career. So I can't wait to talk to her about what it was like being a creator turned author, how she came up with the concept for The Spanish Love Deception and what she makes of its rapid success, what her reaction was like when she found out that the book was going to be turned into a movie, and then, of course, what it was like to write The American Roommate Experiment. And we get to go into some of my favorite scenes and her favorite scenes of this book. So without further ado, my conversation with the incredible Elena Armas starts right now. Welcome, Elena Armas, to the podcast. I'm dead that you are here. I am so excited to record with you. Obviously, you know, I'm obsessed with The Spanish Love Deception. And I was DMing you and I was telling you this like a few days ago, but I legit think like I may be more obsessed with The American Roommate Experiment. Like, explain that to me.
Well, that makes me very happy.
I didn't think that this was going to be possible, yet like here we are.
Yeah, here we are. I mean, it does feel so good when, I mean, maybe I shouldn't feel this way, but it's kind of like a relief when people tell me, oh my God, I think I'm loving The American Roommate Experiment even more than The Spanish Love Deception. And it kind of feels good because I'm so terrified right now. I am scared for this book because we will talk about this, but it's like different from The Spanish Love Deception in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So I'm a little nervous. So when you told me, oh my God, obsessed, I stayed up reading. I was like, yes.
I devoured this book. Like, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And like, I'm just so obsessed. But before we get into it and we talk about this book, I need to like talk to you about your background because you, I think, are the first. I think you're the first besides Chip Pons. I think you were the first bookstagrammer turned author that I've had on my show. I'm pretty sure, which is an insane concept. And I didn't even know that you were a bookstagrammer before. Like, let me explain to you how I found you and this whole thing. It was like a random day. And all of a sudden, every single person on my feed is posting about The Spanish Love Deception. And I'm like, where did this book even come from? Like, it wasn't even on my radar. Like, how did I not even hear about it? Like, where is this coming from? And then I clicked on your page and I was like scrolling through and I was like, oh my God, she like literally posts like bookstagram content. And then I think it was Chip who was like, yeah, she's a bookstagrammer who like wrote a book. And I was like, my mind blown. So I need to know about your background. Like, tell me everything before The Spanish Love Deception.
So let me see. Okay. So everything started years ago. I'm not sure. I'm not able to remember how long ago I started with this, like the blogging gig, the book blogging gig. Yeah. But it was like years ago. So first I opened one of those WordPress sites, like the free ones, and I was writing reviews and I was like, hey, I don't have anyone to talk about books with, so I might as well, talk online about them. And from there, I jumped to Instagram when Instagram was like the feed was chronological.
Like when it was normal.
Before this whole boom of,
Reels and
yes. Yeah. So years before that. And so I started taking photos and talking about books there, and my following started like growing exponentially, which was, it was good. I was like, okay, so people want to hear about like what I have to say about books. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't consider myself one of the OGs. There was a lot of people before me on Instagram,
Okay.
like on Bookstagram, but I was witnessing the OGs, happening. So yeah, at first I used to blog about young adult literature. Then I jumped to romance. So it was like a mix at some point, and then I was full on obsessed with romance books. And from there, I jumped to hey, how about I write a book, a romance
Oh my
book?
God.
And
Okay. So that's kind of how it started.
yeah, like a short summary of how it happened.
So, from my understanding, though, you wrote The Spanish Love Deception and then published it yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it like popped the hell off on social media. Like, what happened?
Yeah. So it was a kind of slow process. It wasn't like publishing and then boom.
Okay.
So I self-published The Spanish Love Deception in February 2021.
Okay.
And it didn't blow up on TikTok until mid-August.
Okay.
But so people were people were still kind of buying and talking about The Spanish Love Deception on Instagram, because I had a lot of bloggers that I knew that I sent my book to.
Right.
So on that side of things, I think I was a very lucky person, like a very lucky debut author, especially self-published, because I had a platform and I had like contacts and I could reach out to bloggers that I was friendly with. And I was like, if you're interested, you can read it and then you can talk about it if you like it. Like, it was very good vibes, very, and people, I mean, the community is amazing. I'm in love with the Bookstagram community.
Same. Me too.
Everyone is really, really helpful when you're reaching out, asking for help.
So nice. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an amazing community. So I was very lucky to have that support. And then it suddenly, like, it was a overnight thing on TikTok.
It was, right? That's how it felt like for me.
Yeah.
Even
it
like,
was.
yeah.
It totally was. I mean, some people were talking about it on TikTok, and I was very happy that, they were finding the book and liking it enough to talk about it, like either TikTok or Twitter or YouTube. Like, I was very, very grateful. But then there was like this one TikTok that went, I think in 24 hours, it got to 6 million or 7 million views.
Oh my God.
And that was the TikTok that put The Spanish Love Deception into the top 100 Amazon, like Kindle.
Right.
And from there, it's when everything happened.
So insane. So from your standpoint, like as an author, were you just like, this is insane because it's so beyond any of my control? Like, it's not like I was going out and doing promo marketing, or I was, like, this is literally just somebody found this book who happened to like it and it like took off.
Yeah. No, that is still to this day, I have trouble processing like how that happened, because it wasn't even one of the popular booktokers. It was a girl. I think at that point she had like 1,000, 2,000 followers on TikTok, which, I mean, it's not a lot. It is a good following. I'm not saying it's little, but yeah.
Yeah, and in like context of TikTok, when people have millions of followers, she's not like a top creator.
Yeah, she was not. I contacted her the following day. So this TikTok started going viral, and people started like tagging me, because I had an account on TikTok. I was not posting much because I didn't know how to. I'm a millennial. So I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
So that day when so I contacted her the morning when I saw The Spanish Love Deception had like hit the top 100 Amazon. I was like, this is thanks to you. I mean, it didn't take, a genius to
figure that one out. Yeah, connect the dots.
To correlate those two things, because her TikTok had like 5 million views that morning and my book was on the top 100. So I was like, Abby, I think her name is Abby. I was like, Abby, you did it.
I owe you my life. I owe you my life.
I mean, crazy. I didn't know at that point, that day, I couldn't know that things were going to go the way they did. I thought it was just like a peak on sales, and I was very grateful for that. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. I love it. I couldn't have predicted that was the start of everything.
Right.
Yeah. And then
yeah.
I know for a fact, like, going back to your question, Atria, I think, I'm not sure if it was Atria, like my publisher, who contacted her for an arc of the American Rumor Experiment, or if I sent them like the account. I don't remember, but I know that she got the arc of the American Rumor Experiment.
Good.
So it was a nice full circle moment. I was like, you have to have one.
Dying. I'm dead. I'm sure she loved hearing from them and getting that book. Because speaking of Atria, so the book kind of popped off on its own because of social media, and you were still self-published. You didn't have a publishing house behind you. Like, how did Atria come into the conversation? And now obviously American Roommate Experiment is published by them.
Yeah. So once the book stayed on the top 100 for a few weeks, I started getting contacted by like multiple people from the publishing industry.
Now everybody wants a piece of you.
Well, I mean, it does make sense if you think about it. 100%. I was not represented. Like, I had no representation. I didn't even know how to query for an agent. I was flying solo in the whole sense of the word. I was just,
doing it on your own. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even know what I was doing most of the time. I was just trying luck. I like to say this a lot, but it's very true. When I wrote The Spanish Love Deception, it was a book for me. It wasn't with any expectations.
Wow.
So this was it was a surprise. Obviously, right. I would have never anticipated it. But anyway, So after a few weeks of The Spanish Love Deception being in the top 100 of Amazon, I was contacted by agents, also by a few publishers.
Okay.
And, then I signed with my agent, with Jessica. And then from there, everything started rolling. Yeah.
Insane. So before we get on to the American Roommate Experiment, because obviously that's why we're here, I have to just briefly talk about the Spanish Love Deception, because how could I not? I'm going to be fully honest when I say that I was unbelievably late to the Spanish Love Deception game. I don't even want to tell you when I first read it, because you're going to be like, what the hell? This is the thing that I had. This was my fear, basically, was everybody was obsessed with the book. And I was like, what if I'm that one person that for some reason, it just doesn't jive with me? And then how can I show my face as a romance book reader and not be a fan of this book? I was petrified, literally. And all credit goes to Chip. He was like, I promise you're going to love it. He's like, I know the books you love. There's not one thing in here you're not going to love. Aaron Blackford, you're going to die. I'm telling you, read it. And I read it in one sitting on an airplane to Mexico in 4 hours, start to finish, literally start to finish. My sister was sitting next to me, who's already read it and loved it. And she was just staring at me as we're sitting on the airplane, you're loving it, right? You're loving it, right? So angry at me. And I became literally obsessed. So I have to just ask one question about this book, and then we can move on. Aaron Blackford, how did you come up with the most insanely beyond, he is just the baseline standard, and nobody should settle for anything below him, and the bar is too hhi.
It is. It kind of is. Yeah. I made my own bet there.
You did. You really did.
I did. Yeah. That's partly why I'm so terrified about this book, because the hero is very different, but
it doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah. Don't worry. You have nothing to worry about. Yeah. We'll talk.
But yeah, the thing with Aaron, I think it was a lot because when I was writing the book, I was giving it my all, because I thought that maybe this would be the only book that I ever wrote. So I just decided to make Aaron as perfect in my mind as I could. And I had read so much romance. I was so obsessed with the romance genre that, I knew exactly what I wanted in my perfect hero. I had a definition, and that definition is Aaron Blackford. That is, if you were to ask me, okay, so what would your perfect romance hero be like? Yeah, it's Aaron. I love Lucas, and we will talk about him. But my definition of perfect man is Aaron Blackford. And I think you can tell from how he's written, like he's pretty perfect. It is
so he is. That's why.
Yeah. And he checks a lot of boxes in the, stereotypical romance hero.
Totally.
Because he's like a stern man. He's
a stern brunch daddy.
Yes, exactly.
Which is the best hero trope you could ever ask for.
I mean, he is a Capricorn, so.
Oh, important to note. Makes it all make sense now.
It does.
So the Spanish Love Deception is going to be a freaking movie? Is this a thing?
Yes. So the adaptation rights were bought.
Craziness. But I'm so excited for you. So the rights have been purchased, but we're kind of just at that point now. Like, are we any movement in pre-production yet or not really?
Not yet. Not that I know of.
Okay.
So the contract was signed relatively recently. So so it's like very early stages. The script is like written and I have read it, which, I mean, the producers or the director and screenplay writer, sorry.
Yeah.
They are super nice and super open to me, kind of like, giving my opinion and my thoughts on what they are doing and how they are thinking and their vision and everything. So I'm very grateful for that.
Okay.
But no news, no nothing, like not even, I'm not even like lying. I'm not even like, I cannot say. It's like literally I have nothing.
It's insane that this book is going to be made into a movie. First of all, from like a visual standpoint, it's just going to be stunning. Like, because there's just so much to this story that it's going to be gorgeous. Like, I'm praying that you get to go on set and just experience this and like see these characters, like see Aaron Blackford, like be a real human. Like, do you have any, like, I don't know if you're even allowed to say this because maybe you're not, but like, do you have dream casting in mind?
I don't have. I'm very open. I'm trying to stay open too, because I feel like I really shouldn't like
have an expectation.
Obsess myself with someone in particular, because then I just don't. I want to take on this project as something very optimistic and bright and happy. I don't want to be disappointed or
100%. Set the expectations low. I feel you.
Yeah.
So crazy. As like a bookstagrammer, like I just can't imagine like being a content creator and then writing a book and then have it take off and then get a freaking movie deal. Like when you found out that this was happening, were you like beside yourself? Like
I was like, hold on, what? I was like, are they sure? Like, are we sure about this? Like, is this really? Yeah. I mean, I had been told from readers in general that my writing is very visual.
It is.
Because I spend a lot of time describing situations and body language. And like, so then when I started meeting with producers that happened to be interested in the Spanish Love Deception rights, they, like all of them, they did mention it. Like it is a very cinematographic novel. And there's a lot to do. Like you can do a lot of things with it just from how it's written. So I mean, and then there were some people that were, oh my God, I'm waiting for Netflix to, jump into the hype. And I was like, please. But the moment itself was, I mean, it is still crazy today.
It's crazy.
When I think about it, I'm like, what is even life now?
Now we can talk about this beautiful baby right next to me, the American Roommate Experiment. Before we get into all of my questions and everything, I would love if you could just like tell the listeners, most people by the time they listen to this, they will know what the book is about, but just like a little brief summary, if you will.
Okay, so the American Roommate Experiment takes place sometime after the epilogue of the Spanish Love Deception, for those that are here because they have read that book. For those that haven't, we meet Rosie, who is an engineer, New Yorker, just turned romance writer. So she just quit her job. At the beginning of the book, you know that something has happened in her life, but you're not sure what exactly. So she has quit her job like a few months ago to pursue this dream of hers, this romance writer career. And then we have Lucas Martin, who is, for those that have read The Spanish Love Deception, Lucas is Lina's cousin. He's Spanish, and he happens to be landing on New York City the same night that Rosie's apartment literally collapses on her. So both of them meet in Lina's apartment on that first night. Lina is not there. She's in Redacted. She's outside New York. She has left New York for a while. And yeah, so they meet there. Rosie happens to have like a crush on Lucas because she has been stalking his Instagram. And they, so long story short, they agree to share Lina's apartment because it's convenient for everybody. And and at the same time, Rose is experiencing writer's block for the first time in her life, and new writer's career. So Lucas offers to help. Hashtag fake dating, experimental dates, yada yada.
It's not normal. Before we like talk about these characters, I just have to discuss with you like the meet cute of this book and how it's, first of all, right off the bat, which I freaking love. I love when you just get into it. Like that's just the best in my opinion. Like those are my favorite types of books. But that first scene in this book, I was actually cackling laughing. And can you just walk everybody through that? Like I imagine like writing it, like there must have been a lot of like movement involved in like trying to figure out like all of the dialogue and missing pieces and how they cut each other off and how you make it so obvious that like Lucas is on the other side of the door hearing her on the phone. Like, can you set up that scene and explain how you kind of wrote it or how you came with that idea?
Yeah, of course. So I'm a huge fan of rom-coms in general. And I'm a huge fan of like shows that are like comedy shows. I'm a big fan of Friends, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like that kind of stuff. So because I've binge watched so much content, I am able to picture a very clear idea of what I want to do. And then, I mean, I'm not going to lie, the first draft of that first chapter sucked. But first drafts always suck. So
yeah, fair. You just have to get it out of your head onto the page and then you figure it out. Yeah.
It's a matter of like working on it until you're happy with it. But so that scene, I built it like on layers. So I started with a very long scene, and then I usually like cut things and like remove things so they make sense together. So, and then what was it? Like you also have to do like an exercise of like trying to picture yourself in the shoes of both characters. Like if I were, if I was Rosie and I would hear someone trying to like force the lock, what I would do, like, and then if I was the person who's trying to get into my cousin's apartment with my key that she left for me and I somehow can't, and then there's some crazy woman like calling the police on the other side, what would I do? So but it takes time. It's not like I sat down and wrote it and it was perfect, like not at all. And also on a note on that, on the first draft, the dialogue between Rosie and Lucas was very awkward. It was very, very awkward. I had to work really hard on those first chapters, like on that dialogue, like those interactions between them. So it wouldn't be like super awkward because, I mean, you're just meeting someone that you have been stalking online. So it's meant to be awkward, but that has to translate well into the book because otherwise the reader has secondhand embarrassment and it's like, oh, I cannot read this.
100%.
So,
it was just like the funniest scene. But now, like, to talk about Rosie, because she's like a romance writer, did you use any parts of like you and your experience in creating her? Like, were you kind of the inspiration a bit maybe behind her character?
So I took some things from my own experience for Rosie's character. I mean, clearly we both are engineers that we have quit our
Right.
job and pursue this. There's one main difference though, that I never experienced writer's block with my second book, because it was kind of written before everything kind of like blew up.
Right.
So that is one big difference. I guess that I'm going to get that question a lot. Like, did you go through the same things that Rosie? Not exactly.
Okay.
I did go, or I am still going through like this. Rose is a character that she wants to give her best, and she wants to please everybody, and she wants to like have everyone happy, and she puts a lot of pressure on her own shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that I think we share.
Okay.
I'm a terrible people pleaser, and I also I also demand a lot from myself. So
fair.
Yeah.
Fair. I just found it was interesting how she like struggles with the whole kind of being thrown into the spotlight as a writer, having a different background. Like that's kind of similar-ish trajectory as your career, kind of just everything popping off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. For sure. There's like a parallelism there. Like we both go through similar journeys, but I think like not everything that happens to Rosie in the book necessarily happened to me.
Right.
Yeah. Thankfully.
Thankfully. So the most fun part of this book, I mean, there's so many fun parts, but like the fact that they get to go on these like fake dates, and they're these elaborate, romantic, like Lucas is just not a normal person type dates. She's spitting. She had a spit take. I'm so sorry. But like, was that so much fun to write? Like fake dates?
Yes, 100%.
Like, so the sky is like literally the limit, because the stakes are so different in this point. Like they both know that it's fake, but like they are both falling in love,
Yeah.
So it's not like you kind of have a different like understanding of like the emotional stakes, because neither of them are kind of like 100% into each other, that they know,
Yeah. It's so on the one hand, that is a very fun dynamic to write. Because you can play with so many things. You can play with body language. You can play with especially what Lucas says. Because in this case, like, Rosie has a crush on Lucas, and you know that she's absolutely 100% going to fall in love with him.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
I mean, yeah, not because the romance book, although yes, but also because, I mean, if you start something like this with someone that you already like,
100%. The circumstances are insane. It's endgame for sure.
It's gonna happen. So there's a lot of things you can do with that, and there's a lot of like little Easter eggs that you can plant at the beginning of the book that then to make the reader think about certain things. But at the same time, it's also like a thin line to walk. Especially coming from a book that was centered around fake dating. So I kind of wanted to keep the theme, because it's a companion novel. So it's Spanish Love Deception series kind of thing. So the deception thing, I wanted to kind of like keep it.
Right.
But make it different. And I thought it would be so much fun to explore these these experimental dating, where the hero is a sweetheart and prepares amazing dates that 100%. Are not real, but actually they are real, but they not real.
What was your favorite date to write? I'll tell you what my favorite date to read was.
Okay, you go first.
100% the pizza making date.
Yeah.
Like it was just, again, it goes back to the way you write, I guess. Like I was literally reading that scene, but watching it play out in my head like a movie. And it's just the sexual tension, which we will get to in coming moments, because like you're the most insane slow burn sexual tension writer in the entire freaking world. It makes zero sense to me how you do this, but we'll get to that in a second. But what was your most favorite one to write?
That one was top 3 for sure. For sure. Like on that scene, the beginning of the scene, and this is not a spoiler, is something kind of, I mean, spoilerish, but not really.
It's okay. You could say what you need to say.
So at the beginning of the scene, Lucas is tying an apron around or on, I don't know the
Around,
pronunciation for that, around Rosie. Yeah. That scene was 3 pages long. And my editor, like only that moment that him tying the apron, like my editor said, this is insanely long. Like you cannot have only that one single action, which is tying an apron. You cannot have 3 pages of this. Cut it out, like cut it short right now. I don't want to. I did it, but I don't want to. But that's how much fun I was having at that point in the novel, because things are starting to like brew and thicken. And that is the scene, that is the date in the book that you already like. It is not the, like, it's not the breaking point, but it's like the shift, something 100%.
100%.
Like they cross a line and then things are different between them from that point on. So I was having a lot of fun writing that. But my favorite date to write is the last date that I'm not going to say anything else because
I was like literally crying. I had like tears, like the corner of my eyes. Yeah. Not normal.
I don't know. I choke when I try to talk about that with emotion, because to me, and
oh my God,
like to me, and I'm not even like, that is what Lucas does on that last day to me.
It's not normal.
As a woman, it is the most romantic thing anybody could do.
The detail, like that's the thing. That's the thing. And then you kind of get a little bit of backstory about like how it was put together, like as you whatever. And it's just like, so like we kind of said before that like Aaron Blackford is like the standard, but like I think like Lucas Martin can be like they're I just don't understand how you write men this way, to be honest with you.
I mean, I hope I can keep doing these.
It's crazy. It's insane. So let's talk about the freaking steam and intimacy in this book, because like things don't really happen until like pretty far into the book happen in terms of like actual happening. But like the intimacy and the emotional like connection and the tension is so incredible that like it doesn't even matter almost. Like it's so gratifying once it happens, but once it happens, it's also like, okay, I could have even gone longer. Like you just write it so well. Like what is hard about, like I can't imagine that that's easy to do, to not have them just get together already, you know, like to drag it out.
I mean, it is and it isn't.
Okay.
So I make myself suffer as I'm writing because,
okay, good.
Like, I mean, at some point when I hit the 60% mark of the book, I am annoyed at myself. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, like kiss already. Like, oh, Jesus. It's very frustrating as a writer, I think, because I was a reader. So I'm kind of experiencing both things at the same time. I'm also a huge slow burn reader.
You could tell.
I think you can tell. You can tell.
A little obvious.
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't think I could write like a fast burn. I think I would not be able to connect with those characters if I don't make them go through what I make them go.
Yeah. I love it. I'm normally not a big slow burn person because I just am like instant gratification. Like I need it now. Like, why are you making me wait? Like, why are we delaying the inevitable? But for whatever reason with both of your books, it just like really works. It's because the tension is so good that you don't even like need the actual thing to happen.
That makes me very happy.
I was dying. I messaged you, but I had like serious butterflies in my like chest, stomach, like my like legs were like hurting, like everything. I was just like I felt like I needed to take like deep yoga breaths. Like I needed to like hunch over and just be like, okay, like I couldn't. And I really read the last, I want to say 40% in one sitting.
Ooh, okay.
So I just like digested like the meat of this book in one, like really one intake. So I was just overwhelmed and unwell the entire time. And I was just like, I don't know. And then you go also on top of their story, which is beyond words, you get like snippets of Aaron and Lena, like they come back. Was that fun for you to write? I'm sure everybody, when they found out you're writing a second book, they were like, but you need to put them in it. Like, I'm sure everyone was thinking.
Yeah, well, that together with it. When are we getting the Spanish Love Deception only in Aaron's POV?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
those
that's
are the
addicting.
two hit questions.
Yeah.
But yes, it was a lot of fun to revisit Aaron and Lena. Also, it is such a comfortable place for me to go as a writer, because those characters were already a part of me when I was writing Rosie and Lucas, and when I was learning who they were. So visiting Aaron and Lena, it was just so easy, so natural, so organic. It was just like, like breathing. It was
so good. And then I guess we just need to like also address, we talked about, I guess, like the slow burn of it all, but like the way that you write intimacy and like once it actually gets down to it, like I was shook when I was reading the Spanish Love Deception because I did not expect that level of like steam.
Spice.
No, but like it's not even just like the spice. It's like the steam plus the spice plus like the dirty talk. Like there's just like so much in there. And then like again, it's like a bit different, I would say, in the American Roommate Experiment, but like the level of like heat is matched for sure. Yeah. Is that like hard for you to write? Is it awkward for you to write? Like, do you find it easy as a romance reader? Maybe it's just something that like comes very like easy, natural to you. Like, I would love to know about the steam writing.
So to me, it's super easy. It has never come like as awkward or forced, or to me feels natural. I know I get like a little bit of criticism on that because the novels in general, they are very fluffy. And then people don't expect the steam to be that
interesting
high.
Like they find that it's a lot of a contrast, like it doesn't.
So, some people kind of complain about that. To me, it feels like the best of both worlds.
100%.
Yeah, because having like getting through a slow burn as a reader, I feel like a good slow burn has to be very rewarding. So it has to reward you. And to me, the best kind of reward is that physical intimacy, like that, like the sex scene. So when they are together for the first time, to me has to be rewarding. So, and I love like a good steamy read. I read all kinds of romance. I also read like these super short erotica like novellas that are not even so I'm a big reader of everything. So maybe that's why it doesn't feel awkward, because I'm not embarrassed to
that's amazing. No, like you consume so much of it, like it's just like it's just part of what these books are. Like it doesn't. I love that though.
It's part of it. Like some people, for instance, said about Aaron in the Spanish Love Deception that his character didn't like the way he behaved behind closed doors with Lena. Like maybe that dirty talk would not fit with how his personality was. To me, it made the whole it made all the sense in the world for him to be that way. And with Lucas, I mean, I still haven't gotten so many comments because the book is not out yet. But I also feel like a lot of his dynamics, behind closed doors, I also feel like they make sense with his character. But
like yes and no, because it's not so outward facing. Like when you see him, he's like in public, he just seems like sweet and gentle, and then he like turns into a goddamn animal.
But I don't know.
It fits.
It does fit. Like, I forgot. There was like a saying about that, but I forgot it. What was that?
Like a man in the streets, but a freak in the sheets thing?
Yeah.
That's him. That's him.
So that's kind of him.
100%.
Yeah.
No, it's the best. And like, I just can't get enough of him. Like, what was your favorite scene to write in this book between them? Was it the last fake date? I was obsessed with the bathroom scene. Couldn't deal.
Yeah, the masquerade ball.
Not normal.
Yeah.
Again, another scene that needs to be a movie because it was so perfectly written beyond words. And I was like sweating reading it. I was like, oh my God. And I had the biggest like shit-eating grin on my face. Like I was like, like while I was reading.
Yeah. That is that was a very good scene. Like it was a lot of fun to write. Especially because you see him struggle for the first time, like really struggle to hold himself back.
The restraint. It's the restraint. It's what's so like hot.
Yeah. And it plays so well with the slow burn because you have a lot of pull and push and like yes, almost, but not really. But we're friends, but we're not. But so
No, it's so good. The amount of tropes you played with also in this book is just so fun. Like, not only is it fake dating, but it's like forced proximity, like like it's just too good.
The funny thing about tropes is that I never set myself on writing them.
You
They
just
they happen.
that's
And
wild.
yeah, again, this is another one of the criticisms that I've seen online, like, oh, her books are so tropey. And I'm like, oh, like, yes, okay, so they are. I mean, to me, um, a book being tropey is something that I like as a reader, so I write it.
Yeah.
And then cliches, I love them. And then books being fluffy and cheesy in the best way possible. As a reader, I love that too.
Same.
So I mean, maybe they're not realistic, but
no, but that's also like the point of a romance book. Like, don't you want the escapism? Like, that's what I'm reading them for. I'm not reading them for a direct reflection of my life and my relationship. I'm looking for something that's fantasy land.
Yeah, I'm a huge escapist when I pick my books. I just I want to escape the world. I don't want realistic stuff. I want over the top, romantic, fluffy things.
I agree.
With theme. So
Same.
So I think I published the Spanish Love self-published the Spanish Love Deception February 2021, and I think in March, end of March, I was already writing the American Dream.
Wow. Okay.
So it was pretty close.
Okay.
Together. Also because, I mean, when I published this, when the Spanish Love Deception was finally out, those first readers loved the book. And to me, that was a shock.
Why?
So, I don't know, because it was the first time that I was doing something like this. I was just shocked to get so much love at the at the beginning.
Yeah, fair.
Also, I've never even took I never took a creative writing course or anything. I had zero experience.
But you consumed so much, so you kind of knew, that's what's so crazy. Like, reading is literally what taught you how to write.
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything was not even self-taught. It was, I was like a sponge. And then I could use what I learned unconsciously.
Yeah.
So yes. So, because I was getting so much love when the book was out, I thought, well, you know what, maybe I should write Rose's story. And I started writing right away. And I thought, hey, who knows, maybe at the end of the year, I can self-publish the American Dream Experiment, and I have a reader base, and I can maybe do part-time in my job and part-time writing or something like that. I was trying to
figure it out.
Yeah.
I love. Okay. So I don't want to take too much of your time, but before we go, what are we working on now? Could we discuss anything? Or
yeah, of course.
Oh, good.
So
this is what I like to hear. Tell me.
I will be publishing another 2 books with Atria. One 2023, another one 2024. And so far, I can only talk a little bit about what I'm working on right now.
Okay.
Which is not going to be in the Spanish Love Deceptions universe.
Okay.
It's going to be something new. It's so far is enemies to lovers again, or
love.
Also kind of forced to work together in a way. It takes place in a small town with 2 city people. So,
love.
Yeah, both of them come from the same world, but very different sides of that world, which is the soccer world.
I love that.
Yeah, it is kind of like a sports romance without really being a sports romance. It's like my own take on it.
Very fun.
And yeah, I'm very, very excited about. I think this book is going to be a lot of fun because these 2 characters are very different to any other character I've written.
Okay, that's so fun for you to write. I'm sure, a new, fresh, something different.
Yeah.
How far into the writing are you? Where are we at?
Not as far as I should.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, you have time.
Yeah. Well,
kind of. You'll make time. You'll make time.
I hope.
It's so exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this
You're
book.
so busy.
I think, yeah, I mean, I hope everyone loves it. It's going to be same things that with this series, kind of slower and steamy, but also very slow burny.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I love it. I'm so excited. I can't wait for everyone to read this book. It's so good. And I know like how much I love it, but like I don't know. I just think that everyone's going to be going into it like freaking out because they've loved the Spanish Love Deception and there's been so much time between the two. So I feel like people are now going to be like, okay, what do we get? And they're going to get so much out of it. Like, it's so exciting.
I hope so. I hope people enjoy it. I think if you've enjoyed my writing and my way of telling stories with the Spanish Love Deception, I think chances are you're going to enjoy this one.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas is very different to Aaron, but
it doesn't matter. The formula like stays the same. Like you're gonna fall in love with him the same way. Like you're gonna have the same. At least for me as a reader, like I had the same obsession feeling with both, even though they're different.
I mean, both are heroes that listen and that pay attention.
How sad is that? That's like the bar. They're like, yep, they're men that listen. What kind of society do we live in? Like, how sad is that? That's like, they're amazing because they use their ears.
It is a little sad, yeah.
Commentary. Anyway, I'm so excited for you. I can't wait.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming and chatting with me. This was the best time ever. I'm so happy I got to ask you all of my questions. I mean, I could have done an entire episode on the Spanish Love Deception, but like maybe one day we'll do a bonus episode or something.
Oh, let's do it.
I would love it. I would love
it. I would love it too. Like you can tell I love to talk. So.
I know. I love listening to you talk. You have the best accent ever. The first time I ever heard your accent, I was like, I didn't realize that you were like from Spain.
Oh,
which is a crazy credit also to your writing. Like you don't write as if like you're bilingual.
Thank you. It is one of the things I'm most self-conscious of,
You're incredible. I mean, you have nothing to be self-conscious about. Seriously.
Thank you so much.
Seriously.
Also my accent is but it's so hard for us Spaniards to like get rid of this freaking accent. I swear.
No, don't get rid of it. It's amazing.
Thank
you. Well, thank you again. I really appreciate it. This was the best ever, ever, ever.
Thank you for having me. Like,
of course.
You guys, bloggers, podcasters, bookstagrammers, book talkers, book tweeters, whatever, booktubers, all of like you guys are really a huge part of like our reason to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And without bloggers, we would not reach as many readers as we do. So, you taking this time to like record a podcast and having me here and talk about books, like that means the world. Mm-hmm. And I know how hard it is because I was there, not on the podcast side, but on the Bookstagram side. And I know how hard. So I always I make sure to always say thank you and, you're seen. And appreciate it.
Thank you. No, you're the best. I really appreciate you taking the time. You've got so much on the go. So this was such a treat. It was so much fun.